Let me tell you something that might hurt a little, but it might also completely change the way you learn English forever. If you've been learning English for months, maybe even years, and you still feel stuck when it comes to speaking, it's not because you're not smart. It's not because English is too hard. It's because you're still studying English like a beginner. Yeah, even if you're not one anymore. Think about it for a second. You understand videos. You can read posts. You know hundreds, maybe thousands of words. But when it's time to speak, your mind goes blank. You hesitate. You translate. You panic. And suddenly, all that learning feels useless. Let me ask you something honestly. How long have you been learning English? 1 year? 3 years? 5 years? Now here's the real question. Why does it still feel like day one when you try to speak? Pause for a second and really think about that. Because the answer is not what you expect. Let me tell you a simple story. Imagine someone who wants to learn swimming. So every day, they sit outside the pool. They read books about swimming. They watch videos about swimming. They learn the names of swimming techniques. Freestyle, breaststroke, butterfly. They even memorize the theory. But they never actually get into the water. Now tell me, will they ever learn how to swim? Of course not. And that's exactly what you're doing with English. You are learning about English, but you are not living English. And here's the biggest mistake. You think more studying will fix this. So what do? You open another grammar lesson. You download another vocabulary list. You watch another Learn English Fast video. And for a moment, it feels productive. But you're speaking, still stuck. Let's take a real example. You learn a word like opportunity. You understand it. You memorize it. Maybe you even write it down 10 times. But when you're speaking, do you actually use it? Or do you freeze and say something simple like, chance, good chance, very good chance? Because your brain is not trained to use the word. It's only trained to recognize it. And that is the difference between a beginner and someone who is actually improving. Here's something most people will never tell you. Understanding English is a passive skill. Speaking English is an active skill. And you cannot build an active skill by only doing passive practice. Let me make this even clearer. Imagine you watch 100 English videos. Your listening will improve, but your speaking, almost nothing changes. Because watching is passive. Speaking requires pressure, thinking, creating sentences in real time. That's a completely different game. Now let's be real for a moment. Why do you avoid speaking? Not because you don't want to improve, but because you're afraid of making mistakes. You're afraid people will judge you. You're afraid you'll sound stupid. So instead, you stay in your comfort zone. You keep studying like a beginner, where everything feels safe. No pressure, no risk, no embarrassment. But here's the truth you need to hear. Comfort is the biggest enemy of progress. Let me tell you something powerful. The day you feel uncomfortable speaking English, that is the day you are actually improving. Not when you're watching videos, not when you're reading subtitles, but when your brain struggles, when your words come out broken, when you pause and think, that's growth. Let's take another example. Imagine a child learning to walk. Do they study walking? Do they read books about balance? No, they fall. Again and again and again. And through those mistakes, they learn. But you don't allow yourself to fall in English. You want perfect sentences. perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, before you even open your mouth. And that's why you stay stuck. Let me ask you something honestly again. When was the last time you spoke English for 10 minutes straight? Not in your head, not repeating after a video, but actually speaking freely, without stopping. If your answer is rarely or never, then that's your real problem. Not grammar, not vocabulary. Practice. Now, don't misunderstand this. I'm not saying grammar is useless. I'm not saying vocabulary doesn't matter. But I am saying this. If your learning is 80% input and 20% output, you will always feel stuck. You need to flip it. Let me show you what that looks like. Instead of learning 50 new words in a day, learn 5, but use them. Say them in sentences. Speak them out loud. Use them in your daily life. Because one word you can use is more powerful than 100 words you only understand. And here's something that will change everything for you. Start treating English, not as a subject, but as a skill. You don't study speaking, you practice it. Just like you practice driving, just like you practice a sport. Through action, through repetition, through mistakes. Let me give you a simple situation. You're alone in your room. No one is watching. No one is judging. What's stopping you from speaking English out loud? Nothing. And yet, most people don't do it. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until they feel ready. But that moment never comes. Here's the reality. You don't become ready by waiting. You become ready by starting. Let's take a small example. Right now, look around you and describe what you see in English. Your room, your phone, your surroundings. Even if it's simple. This is my table. I have a black phone. The weather is nice today. It doesn't matter. What matters is you are using the language. And that's how fluency starts. Not with big words, not with perfect sentences, but with small, consistent, real usage. Now imagine doing this every day, 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, 15 minutes next week. Slowly, your brain adapts. It stops translating. It starts thinking in English, and that's the moment. Everything changes. But most people never reach this stage because they quit too early. Or worse, they stay stuck in beginner mode forever. And I don't want that for you, because if you're watching this, you already care. You already want to improve. You just need to change your approach. So from today, make a decision. Stop being a student of English. Start being a user of English. Because at the end of the day, fluency is not about how much you know. It's about how much you can use. And if you truly understand this, your progress will become unstoppable. Now let me take you a little deeper, because understanding the problem is one thing, but actually changing your results, that's a completely different story. Imagine this. 2 people start learning English on the same day. Both are motivated. Both watch videos. Both learn vocabulary. But after 6 months, one of them speaks confidently. The other still struggles to form basic sentences. Why? Let me tell you what the first person did differently. They didn't wait to feel ready. They started speaking from day one. Not perfect English. Not fluent English. Just real English. Broken sentences. Simple words. Pauses. But they spoke anyway. Now let's take an example. Instead of just learning the word happy, they say, I feel happy today because I'm learning something new. Simple sentence, nothing special. But here's what's powerful. They are training their brain to create, not just remember. And this is the shift you need to make. From collecting words to building sentences, from understanding to expressing. Let me show you something practical you can start today. And I want you to imagine yourself actually doing this. You wake up in the morning. Instead of checking your phone immediately, you say out loud, "Okay, today I will wake up early. I will study. I will improve my English." It might feel strange at first, but that's normal because your brain is not used to this. Then you go to the kitchen and you say, "I am making tea. The water is hot. I need sugar." You're not trying to impress anyone. You're just describing your life. Now think about this. You already know these words. You already understand these sentences. The only difference is you're finally using them. Let me tell you something very important. Fluency doesn't come from new knowledge. It comes from repeated usage of what you already know. Most learners are not stuck because they don't know enough. They're stuck because they don't use enough. Now let's go a step further. Imagine you're watching a video in English. Normally you just watch and understand. But now, pause the video and say, "Let me explain this in my own words." Even if it's simple, even if it's not perfect, that moment, that effort, is where real learning happens. Let me give you another situation. You see something interesting online. Instead of just liking it, talk about it. Say, "This is interesting because I think maybe you're training your brain to think, not translate." And yes, at the beginning, your mind will try to go back to your native language. That's normal. Don't fight it aggressively. Just gently bring yourself back to English. Again, and again, and again. Think of it like training a muscle. At first, it feels weak, but with repetition, it becomes natural. Now let me ask you something again. How many times have you said, "I understand English, but I can't speak"? Be honest. Probably many times. But now you understand why. Because understanding is input, speaking is output, and you have been training only one side. So from today, we balance it. Let me give you a very simple daily system. Not complicated, not overwhelming, something you can actually follow. Start with just 10 minutes. Yes, only 10 minutes, but focused. For the first 5 minutes, speak about your day, morning, plans, thoughts, anything. Don't stop. Even if you repeat words, even if you pause, just keep going. Then for the next 5 minutes, pick one topic. For example, your favorite movie, your goal in life, why you want to learn English, and talk about it. You might think, "This is too simple," but simple works. If you actually do it, let me tell you a secret. Most people don't fail because things are hard. They fail because they don't stay consistent. Now imagine this. 10 minutes every day for 30 days. That's 300 minutes of speaking, 300 minutes of real practice. That's more than what most learners do in months. And here's what will happen. In the beginning, you will struggle. You will search for words. You will feel slow. But after a few days, something changes. Your sentences become faster. Your confidence increases. Your brain starts responding quicker. And then one day, you speak without thinking too much. And you realize this is working. That moment is powerful because now You believe in yourself. Let's go even deeper, because there's another hidden problem: perfection. You want your English to be perfect. You want correct grammar, correct pronunciation, correct everything. But let me ask you something. When you speak your native language, do you always speak perfectly? No. You make mistakes. You pause. You repeat. And it's okay. So why are you expecting perfection in English? Perfection is not the goal. Communication is, if people understand you, you are already successful. Let me give you an example. Instead of saying, I have been working on improving my communication skills for the past few months, you say, I try to improve my speaking from last month's. Is it perfect? No. But is it understandable? Yes. And that's what matters. Over time, with more exposure, with more practice, your grammar will improve naturally. But if you wait for perfect grammar before speaking, you will never start. Now imagine two learners again. One waits until everything is perfect. The other speaks with mistakes. After 3 months, who do you think improves more? The one who speaks. Always, because mistakes are feedback. Mistakes show you what to fix. Mistakes push you forward. So instead of fearing mistakes, use them. Let me tell you something powerful. Every mistake you make is one step closer to fluency. Now let's take this even further, because I want you to not just practice, but improve faster. Start recording yourself. Yes, I know. It feels uncomfortable. You listen to your voice and think, do I really sound like this? But this is one of the most powerful tools. Because when you listen to yourself, you notice things. Your pronunciation, your pauses, your mistakes, and slowly, you start correcting them. It's like having a mirror for your speaking. Let me give you a simple way to do this. Take your phone. Record yourself speaking for 2 minutes, any topic. Then listen. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. Then do it again the next day. And the next. Within a week, you will notice improvement. And within a month, you will sound like a completely different person. Now imagine combining this with daily speaking, with thinking in English, with using real-life situations. Your progress becomes unstoppable. And here's the best part. You don't need expensive courses. You don't need perfect teachers. You don't need complicated systems. You just need consistency. Because at the end of the day, English is not learned in one day. It's built daily, and every small effort counts. So from today, stop asking, what should I study next? Start asking, how can I use what I already know? Because that question will change everything. Now let's talk about something that quietly destroys your fluency. And most learners don't even realize it. Translation. You hear something in English. Your brain quickly converts it into your native language. Then when you want to speak, you try to convert it back into English. And in that moment, everything slows down. You hesitate. You get confused. You lose confidence. Let me show you how this actually looks inside your mind. Someone asks you, what did you do today? Instead of answering directly, your brain does this. First, think in your native language. Then search for English words. Then try to arrange the sentence. And by the time you speak, the moment is already gone. Now imagine a different situation. Same question. What did you do today? But this time, your brain responds directly in English. I woke up I studied. I watched a video. Simple, fast, natural. That is the difference between translating and thinking in English. And here's the truth you need to understand. You will never become fluent if you keep translating. So how do you stop it? Not by forcing yourself aggressively, but by gently training your brain in a new way. Let me show you something simple. Instead of learning a word with translation, learn it with meaning. For example, don't learn hungry, your language word. Learn. Hungry are a feeling when you need food. Now your brain connects the word to a feeling, not another language. And that's how children learn language. No translation, just connection. Now let's go even deeper, because I want to give you something simple, but extremely powerful. 3 short habits that will change your English. First, start thinking in English in small moments. You don't need long conversations, just small thoughts. When you're walking, say in your mind, "The weather is nice. I am going outside. I feel tired." At first it feels slow, but slowly, your brain adapts. Second, react in English. Whenever something happens, don't react in your native language. React in English. For example, you drop something. Say, "Oh no, that's bad." You see something surprising. Say, "Wow, that's interesting." These small reactions train your brain to respond instantly in English. Third, ask yourself simple questions. Throughout the day, ask, "What am I doing? What do I want? What will I do next?" And answer in English. This creates a natural conversation inside your mind. And that's where fluency begins. Now imagine combining these 3 habits every single day. Thinking in English, reacting in English, talking to yourself in English. You are no longer just learning English. You are living it. And when you reach that point, fluency is no longer a dream. It becomes a result. Let me bring everything together for you. You don't need more grammar lessons. You don't need more vocabulary lists. You don't need to start again. You just need to stop learning like a beginner. Because beginners only consume, but advanced learners create. They speak. They express. They make mistakes. They improve. And now, it's your turn. Imagine yourself 30 days from now. You speak more confidently. You think faster. You hesitate less. Not because you learned something new, but because you finally started using what you already know. And that is the real secret. So from this moment, make a decision. No more silent learning. No more endless watching. No more waiting to feel ready. Start speaking. Start using. Start living English. Because one day, someone will ask you, "How did you become fluent?" And you will smile and say, "I stopped studying like a beginner." If this message changed the way you think about English, don't just watch and forget it. Take action today. Start with just 10 minutes. Speak, think, use. That's all it takes to begin. And if you're serious about transforming your English, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because here, we don't just learn English. We build confidence. We build fluency. We build a new version of you. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what is one thing you will start doing today in English? I read every comment, and I want to see your progress. Until next time, keep speaking, keep growing, and never go back to learning like a beginner again.